Dante sent the popes, who was so powerful and respected by the general public, to hell in his novel Dante's Divine Comedy. Dante was from Pise, Italy, and around the same period there was a man named Petrarch. Petrarch loved a woman named Laura in his whole life, wrote hundreds of lyric love poems about her, and released his book. In the social atmosphere at that time, it was a nearly impossible task to publish a love poem as a book. Generally, people consider that the only object to be praised, loved, and glorified was God, not a woman at all. However, Petrarch challenged what people thought was nearly impossible anyway. Then a man named Boccaccio produced a book called The Song of Man. The composition of the book was Decameron. Deca means 10 and meron means day. So the Decameron meant 10 days. It translated to a story of 10 days in which 7 women and 3 men gathered in a monastery to escape from the Black Death and lived together there to heal the boredom of daily life with the stories. 10 people selected one moderator each day, and they told stories according to the topic that the moderator designated. When 10 people presented one story for 10 days, eventually 100 stories were created. The 100 stories, like gods, were printed to a frame in an omnibus style that included various kinds of stories, and it has been called the beginning of modern novels. Almost all of the contents were full of behind-the-scenes stories and gossip about high-ranking people, such as the hypocrisy of priests or princes, sex scandals of nobility, and the exploitation of the poor. So at that time, people encountered the most interesting storybook that was created by Boccaccio. This was the true nature of a human being. Boccaccio said clearly in the Decameron that there was no difference between a priest, a prince, or a king and normal people. Coincidentally, all 3 of them, Dante, Petrarch, and Boccaccio, were from Florence. So I think it is no exaggeration to say that these 3 people from Florence started the Renaissance. Then in the art world, 3 geniuses emerged around almost the same period of time. Renaissance art was so popular that everyone knows it, so there is not much to talk about it. The 2 eternal giants of art history, Michelangelo and Da Vinci, were people of this time, the Renaissance followed by Raphael. Until then, art had only painted glorious holy paintings, but in the case of Botticelli, he also started painting nudes for the first time. There are themes like Adam and Eve being kicked out of the Garden of Eden. And when you look at the faces of those people in the paintings, they are funny. And at any rate, art changed innovatively or groundbreakingly. Human thought also changed a lot, and Copernicus' heliocentric theory was a representative example. Before that, people did not believe in geocentric theory. Ptolemy had made such a claim in the 2nd century. Because day and night changed and the 4 seasons changed, the moon turned to create day and night, and then the sun turned to create 4 seasons. So that was why people just believed the geocentric theory vaguely. However, it was an innovative mindset transformation when Copernicus argued for the heliocentric theory that the Earth moves around the sun. So this was an event in Western history where people could say that something changed radically and revolutionary unlike ever before. That's why people called it the Copernicus transition. As everything changed radically, the wave of change finally began to reach religions and religious society as well. It was the historically famous German Martin Luther who opened the door for change in the religious world. Martin Luther, a professor at the University of Wittenberg and a priest at the Wittenberg Cathedral attached a handwritten poster on the front door of his church on October 31st, 1517. Martin Luther put the so-called 95 Theses in his handwritten poster. Martin Luther's claim was that, as the Pope asserted, even if you committed a sin, you could go to heaven if you only purchased indulgences. At the time, Pope Leo X was in the process of extending and altering St. Peter's Basilica. However, when the budget was insufficient, the sale of indulgences to the church members had intensified abusively. Pope Leo X insisted that if anyone purchased indulgences, you and even your family who were in purgatory could ascend to heaven. So, while indulgences were being sold in large quantities and scales, Martin Luther emphasized that the Pope's arguments were wrong. Only righteous people could go to heaven according to the Bible, and only through faith. According to Luther's research, the truth was found in Romans chapter 1, verse 17. Martin Luther's assertion was that the answer was that a righteous person should only live through faith. So Luther's argument was that just purchasing indulgences could not lead to salvation, which could only be reached through faith and God's grace.